How do I get more of what I want in life?
All right, Tyler.
Hmm.
Before we get into that, you wanted to talk about something.
I wanted to talk about something.
Yeah, Radiant Dawn.
Oh yeah,
You
man.
want-
We
Yeah.
finally got our website live. We've taken a year off because you and I got busy with a whole bunch of other projects. So we didn't do our women's retreat like we normally do last year. So this year we're bringing it back. We actually have the date set, the location, um, already taken care of, and we are ready to go with Radiant Dawn again this year. I'm so excited about it, Brandon. We're going to be doing it down in Hurricane, Utah, which is down at the very tip of Utah, almost on the Arizona border. And it's going to be incredible. It's February 26th through March 1st. And we would love to see you there.
It's I can't even like we talk about Rising Sun, how much we love it. Radiant Dawn is just it has a special place in my heart. And if you're thinking about like why would I go to a women's retreat run by a bunch of men, I do gotta say, um, our staff of women are incredible, and don't worry, it's not just me and Tyler, right? Thank goodness.
Yeah, it actually seems to be a really good combination. And I think if you go to the website, radiantdawn.org, you'll see there's a whole bunch of different video testimonial, written testimonials. Um, but it's just incredible. And I just think of like just having put this back on the calendar, Brannon, and now we're talking about it, just brings a smile to my face of years past. Certain memories just like pop into my mind of like just certain things that have happened and incredible things that have happened for some of the women that have come and just true miracles.
Yeah. And where we do it is just amazing. If you haven't been to Southern Utah, um, this is a great opportunity to come because it's awesome. It's beautiful. It's hopefully the weather's good. Should be decent. We'll see.
Yep.
You never know. So, Tyler, I have a review that I want to share
All
before we
right.
dive in here. So it says the Therapy Brothers and your callers have been on countless hikes with me, the wandering aerator.
Shout out to the wandering aerator.
Which, by the way, every time I hear that name, I think of you.
Well,
Um,
do you know why he did it that way? That's
uh,
exactly why. He does a side business where he aerates people's lawns, and he knew that I called myself the wandering therapist. So he was making fun of me when he named himself the wandering aerator.
which and I have aerated many lawns with you, so it hits both the
Yeah.
wandering aerator. But he says with the mindfulness put into each episode while walking, the items that are shared from you goes without saying as far as helping me in my journey in life. Thank you to each one of your callers that have shared and touched me personally in my own recovery journey. This podcast has been well traveled through the mountains, and I can say you guys are right there with me. Thank you for coming along for my journey and helping me heal and see the sun come up every day. Go climb your mountain and live in love.
I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for the review and for the shout out to our callers too. Again, that's probably what makes our show as good as it is on the good ones is the callers that call in and share their real stories.
absolutely. And yeah, I'm glad he mentioned the callers, but also just to hear from him is awesome.
You can
So
never get too much wandering aerator in your life.
no, no, I mentioned him on an episode recently. I just spent a night kind of hanging out with him. So
Yeah, he was helping man the base fire at our signal fire
yeah,
event.
he's awesome. I think he got you addicted to energy drinks though. So
He that's the
we
one
won't
that's
get
the
into
bane of
that.
my existence. Yeah, totally. 100%.
Now he
It's
should get you. Now he should get you addicted to chocolate milk. Because that's what he does now. Chocolate
yeah,
milk's better than energy
he moved
drinks.
from energy drinks to milk in terms of what he does for business, and I would say that's definitely a step up. The problem is I'm still going through withdrawals now.
Yeah, man.
So
Just taper it off with that
I had I
chocolate
had
milk and
never I had never had an energy drink. I had one energy drink my entire life. And then he came in and brought a 12 pack because that's what he did for a living as he worked for an energy drink company. He brought a 12 pack to group one day, and it happened to be a day where I just got my butt kicked. I'm dead tired. And I'm like, all right, I'll try one of these things. So I slam an energy drink, and then for some reason, shocker, I was amped in group, and the guys all just like, "Whoa, what got into Tyler today? Like, holy cow!" So every week after that, he started bringing energy drinks and like peddling in me, like, "Hey, drink another one, drink another one." So,
Hey, remember our episode back in the day we got in trouble for Mountain Dew,
yeah.
porn, and video games?
Why do men love porn, video games, and Mountain Dew? Yeah, that's like one of
Yeah.
the very few episodes where we got a negative review out of that, even though that
Now,
I think that was
now,
one of our best episodes.
now knowing you, Tyler, it's I see you go through StarCraft, energy drinks, and porn
And
addiction.
porn.
So
I've been through all three. I'm speaking
here,
from experience now.
here you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've hit 'em. You've hit the trifecta.
Yeah.
And he's in recovery now, thanks to chocolate
I
milk.
was going to bring me down to chocolate milk. Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Good
That's a
protein in that.
great example to our listeners or callers. Anyways, let's shift gears a little bit past Tyler's addictions here. We can talk about my addictions next week. um, so Tyler, we wanted to dive into a topic that's actually I think it's pretty awesome and important. I think it's kind of been, I don't know the word, overdone a little bit or misconstrued in some ways. So maybe we can talk about that. But going into the new year, we want to talk about how you create in your life and how you manifest what you want. And take a hard look at ourselves as to what we are creating in our life and what we are manifesting and why we're creating what we create. So we're going to break down what manifesting is, really talk about shifting your energy, resonating in a way in which you'll attract certain things into your life, and yeah, break that down. So Tyler, where do you want to start?
Yeah, well, I think we should start with the definition. I'll just say this, that we almost should have titled this, even though it would make a lot of people upset, something like, whether you like it or not, you're getting exactly what you deserve in life.
Yeah.
Um, and that's the idea, is like, another way of flipping that around is we want people to leave this episode feeling empowered to realize that you have power to actually make real change in your life, through the power of accountability and responsibility. And we're going to talk about some of the ways of helping to facilitate real shift and change in your life.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
I think that what you just said about you're getting exactly what you deserve, that word deserve I could really get into.
yeah, I know.
But
That's like a hot word.
yeah,
I know when I said that.
but I think there's a flip side to what you're saying if you cannot take offense to what Tyler said, which is you have power to create. And even if you were stuck in a pit, if you were thrown in a concentration camp, you can still create internally and resonate internally and feel. And we always have power to create and to create peace, happiness, love, joy, sadness, depression, shame. That's within all of us.
That's right. And we're going to talk today, that word manifest, like you said, it's probably overdone. Think of that as interchangeable with what you just said, Brannon, as the power to create.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
what we want to be thinking about when we use the word manifest. But let's start with the definition, and then maybe we can work through some ways to strengthen this idea of manifesting in your world, or the power to create in your life.
Yeah.
So here's the definition that we're going to go off of today. You guys can all have your own, but manifesting means to bring your desires into reality through focused thoughts, beliefs, actions, essentially using the power of your mind and emotions to attract or create desired outcomes like success, health, or relationships.
Can with that definition, Tyler, can we? What I'd like to do is take a step back. So everything that you just said, that definition is kind of talks about the future. It talks about what we can create. But the reality is all of us are already doing what you just said. So could you read that one more time?
To bring your desires into reality through focused thoughts, beliefs, and actions, essentially using the power of your mind and emotions to attract or create desired outcomes like success, health, or relationships.
Right. So what I'm saying is, as you sit today, when you look at your problems in your life, when you think about the outcomes of your life, positive and negative, you are creating. And I think it takes some real extreme ownership and accountability to stop and get conscious of that. And it takes some humility to stop and be like, okay, the things in my life I could that I don't like, I could just play a victim and not be conscious and blame and stay stuck.
Yeah,
Right?
I think what you just said is important as a starting point that most of us sit here, especially kind of at the new year or whatever, where we're like, hey, I need to start making all these big changes in my life. I'm going to set some New Year's resolutions or whatever. Um, I'm going to go do something different. And what you're saying is we actually need to start at the place where we can say, I'm already creating.
Yeah.
Like as a default, we as human beings can't help but be in the process of creation, whether we're conscious of it or not. So really
Yes.
what we're doing is starting at a place where what is it that I am creating already? Maybe what is it that I'm creating that I already appreciate and want, but also, and this goes right into our coursework in the healing journey too. What are the fruits of my life that I keep harvesting that I don't want anymore?
Right.
Like I don't want to be out of shape. I don't want to be like,
Lack
financially
lack
strapped. I don't want to
friendships and levels of intimacy, and like, yeah, there's certain things that it's like, but yet I keep doing that. I keep creating that,
somehow
right?
I feel like I'm getting that or the world's bringing that to me over and over again when in reality there may be some things that if I were to actually understand that I'm a creator, I might be helping to create the very things that I don't want in my life right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How is it, Tyler, that like you take some business guys and it's like, idea after idea that just hits, just like it's like they have the Midas touch, and then you take other guys where it's the opposite. They fail and they fail and they fail again and just again and again and again. Um, what I mean, why is that?
Yeah, well, it might not even be about the quality of the ideas so much as the energy with which it's treated and the intention and desires that and work that go into it as well.
Listen to what you said. The energy, the intention. That's what we're unconscious of a lot of times. Is that
Yeah.
we just look at the outcomes. We just look at what we desire. We try to get those things, but how are we coming to the table? Um,
Have you ever, Brannon? This is one that's coming to my mind right now, probably just because I just had an experience with this a couple of days ago. But have you ever like been around somebody that you just can feel from them that they are just so desperate for you to like them
yeah,
that
yeah,
it almost like I'm this just happened a few days ago where we were interacting with somebody that way, and it was me and my wife together, and afterwards my wife was the one who was like, oh man, like they want you to like them so bad. And I was like, I could feel that too. It felt almost desperate. And and she said, it kind of makes me not want to.
yeah. You don't want to get too close to them because they'll smother
Yeah.
you, and like, so they create what?
Yeah, so then the very thing that they're trying to avoid is actually being invited into their life because of the energy with which they're approaching things.
Yeah,
Right? So they're like, "Oh man, I'm so afraid of being abandoned and not being liked and not being good enough that I'm going to go and I'm going to spread that energy all around and then I'm going to be like, why does nobody ever want to hang out with me?"
and it's
Right?
because deep down that person believes that nobody wants to hang out with me.
Yeah,
So they
they're
create
actually
nobody wants to hang
manifesting
out
that in
with
their
me.
life. They're actually creating that in their life, but they can't. But a lot of times people don't even have the awareness to realize that they're the ones who are helping to facilitate the same outcome they don't want.
Well, the thing about it is, Tyler, and this is where the unconsciousness comes in, is if let's take this example. If I feel like nobody wants to be my friend, um, and so I go show up trying to get people to be my friend, I could look at that and say that's the work that I'm doing to try to overcome that feeling. But the fact of the matter is you got to stop and pause and recognize, how are you resonating? Like, what is the energy and why? And this is
Yeah.
why trauma work is so important, because you need to go deal with the deep demons here, relinquish them, and recognize that you're okay, and then you'll automatically start to show up differently. I've been through this process myself, Tyler.
Yeah. I think
Um,
we all are on some level.
yeah, I mean, I didn't believe people wanted to be my friend. Growing up, you knew me. I was kind of shy. Didn't put myself out there, and I just desperately wanted friends, and but I didn't believe that I was really that lovable. And so instead of like going to try to overcompensate, I shut down and I just didn't put myself out there. And what do you know, like, not not like being outgoing and connecting to people didn't get me a bunch of friends.
Yeah, like staying in your bedroom and
Yeah,
hiding
and
hiding in a cave.
listening to Garth Brooks all day
Yeah.
didn't get me a bunch of friends, you
Thank
know.
goodness for Garth.
Garth got me through.
Garth actually
Um,
probably helped you make friends too.
he actually did, yeah. Um, let's throw Garth in here, because I'm listening to songs like standing outside the fire, and just kind of put yourself out there and go for it. And so I'm listening to Garth lonely in my bedroom, and I'm realizing, like, hey, it's time to face the fear. It's time to deal with this, and understand that you are okay, and people might not like you. And as I realized that, like, deep down, I realized that I actually had some rejection. I had some friends that didn't like me or want to be my friends or whatever, but that was okay. And I connected to great people, and I created friendships. And to this day, my best friends are from high school and
You got
college.
great connections.
Yeah.
If not
So
for standing outside the fire and the river, you might still be in your bedroom.
um, I want to give another example of manifesting here, and just the energy, the resonating. So, um, you know Russell, our good friend Russell. So his son Carter is also my good friend, and he's awesome. He's just he's just good energy. Like, so he gets married, he has two kids, and he's just like, he just believes. He believes that he's going to be successful. And I'm watching him. He's young, and he's just starting out in his career, and he started this pretzel company. And he got into the stadium, and they started making these pretzels, and he just believed that it was going to work, and worked his butt off because he believed it was going to work, worked his butt off, and they like broke records with their sales. And now he's like getting into other stadiums, and he's doing well. And this company came to him and was like, hey, we don't really want to run our company. We'll give you like a bunch of equity in it if you want to run it, because he's running that well, like the pretzel thing. So this other company's coming around like, hey, we'll give you equity in our company. And so it's starting to kind of snowball and go, all because of what?
Well, because the authentic belief leads to all of the other things that lead to the outcomes.
Yeah. So it's just like automatic. It just starts to attract. It attracts itself in and starts to create. Um, like, the hard work will happen when you believe. It will start to take place because you know that it's going to happen. So you start to believe and you start to create.
Yeah, I remember this is a smaller version of this, but my oldest daughter in high school, she was playing sports and she played soccer, but halfway through the soccer season, she kind of wanted to take on cross country as a freshman. But cross country and soccer overlap with each other. So she went to the cross country coaches and said, "Hey, I want to try this. Can I run in a couple races?" And they said, "Well, you have to run in like two races to be able to qualify for, region and state. But yeah, you could come try it and see what you think." And we didn't know any better. She didn't know any better. And we just said, go out there and win the race. First race ever, cross country, freshman, she wins. And then she wins. And then she wins. And then she ends up at region and she wins. And then she goes to state, and at state is where she finally lost her first race, even though she took like seventh in the state. Never having run cross country before, she didn't know any different other than you run the race to win.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
only after she finally lost a couple of times, and then the pressure came on because she was like this freshman phenom, that the pressure started to buckle her, and all
She
those
started
false
to believe
agreements and the
something
wrong,
else.
a new belief system starts to come in, and the pressure and all of that other stuff. But it was just the belief. And here's the thing that I think people mess up with, like manifestation a little bit, Brannon, is they hear this stuff on TV. What are you
The
manifesting?
secret.
If you just think it, then all of a sudden it'll
The
happen.
secret, Tyler.
But I think what
Yeah.
you're getting at here is the combination of when I actually start to feel and believe something, I can't help but take action towards it too.
Yeah.
So my efforts, my work lines itself up with the belief. So it's not just sit at home and think about it. It's, man, when I start thinking and believing and feeling what that's going to be like, I naturally, like, the body starts to follow, the decision tree starts to follow. It's the effort and the energy starts to move itself in that same direction. So then I'm pairing up belief, feeling, energy with right effort. And then that's what starts to produce these really cool outcomes.
I want to give a stupid example, but just to illustrate your point here, because yeah, you're definitely describing it. Um, let's say I believed that I was the greatest donut maker ever. Like I just knew how to make donuts, and I was passionate about donuts, and I was the donut guy. Like
God created you to make
I
donuts.
just could make donuts, right?
Yeah.
So because I knew that's who I was, I let's say I worked a job wherever, and I saved up money and I got my bakery because I knew I needed to get a bakery because I was the donut guy. So like I skimped, I saved, I got there, and I got this bakery. And then I started to look at the ingredients of my donut. And I got to this point where it was like there was one type of flour that was good enough, that was cheaper, and there was another type of flour that was awesome, but a little more expensive, right? Um, so the ingredients in my donut, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, if am I the world's greatest donut man or not?
Am I the world's richest donut maker or the world's best donut maker?
Right. Am I like trying to make just money this way, or am I the world's greatest donut maker? Well, what's the world's greatest donut maker going to go with? The mediocre flour or the
He's got the passion to go find a way to make it work with the best ingredient.
I'm going to go with it. I'm going to figure it out, and it's going to take care of itself. I'm going to have the best ingredients, right? And as I'm getting the best ingredients, I got this bakery going, and like I'm starting to formulate this thing, and people start talking. They're like, "Oh, Brannon, the donut man, he's like creating something in there." And so then I have other donut man from the town next door, and he calls me up and he's like, "Dude, I heard you're doing something. Like I got to talk to you because I got this idea." And we get talking, and now I'm connecting to another great donut man because I'm a great donut man, and we're working together and we're brainstorming and we're creating something together. And he came into my life. Why?
Because your passion to be the best donut man attracted him into that space.
I didn't even know him, but people get talking and he calls me, and now he's got this great jelly that he puts in the donuts, and he's like, "Dude, let's come together because we can create this together." Like, holy crap, right? And we're all excited, and we're biting into this like crispy, soft, just the best donut ever, right? And that attracted itself into my life.
Some guys catch all the breaks. Some guys just catch all the breaks.
That's what the guy who's creating less than his level says.
Man, some lucky guys.
That lucky guy had the jelly guy call him. Jelly guy didn't call me. He didn't call me. He called him. Well, of course he called him because his energy goes out into the universe. let me get a little out there here because it's true. His energy goes out into the universe and it finds like energy and it pulls it back in and then it creates with it for good or bad. Um, and that's what manifesting is. And so when I talk about extreme ownership, take a step back, if you're creating things that aren't awesome, you're sending energy out there that's pulling the energy back in. And instead of trying harder not to do that, what you need to do is stop and recognize that you are doing that and ask yourself why. Where's that coming from? And there's probably fear, there's probably shame. Your protective parts are keeping you stuck in that place because you're hedging against things and it's not allowing you to fully change the way that you're resonating, right? And there's different ways that you can shift your energy.
100%. I I just had this experience with one of my clients probably about a month and a half ago. I was watching this person just kind of cycle through the same thing over and over again. In this case, it was being stuck and trapped in a relationship. And I kept like trying to think like, what, why can't they see that they're part of the creation of this cycle that they're in and they don't want to break it, you know? And finally I paused and I said, would you do an exercise with me just for a second? And I sat him down on the couch. I got him into kind of some deep breathing, meditative state. And then I just did a visualization where I actually had them I had them remove the person that they were in a relationship with out of the picture completely. And then I said, now let's visualize, what does your life look like here? What does your life look like here? What does your life look like here? What does your life look like here with that other person out of the picture? And we got done with the exercise and something you could almost feel it inside the room. My client opened her eyes and she was like, my life is awesome. Like my life is so good. I'm able to create things. I'm able to go pursue my passions. I'm able to go and have relationships with different people that I've sacrificed for too long. I have self-confidence. She listed off like 15 things. And I was like, with one change, all of those other outcomes are going to start to happen. And you could feel it. She was like, she caught the vision in that moment. And every therapy session since then has been her actions towards her new life, which eventually, in this case, I'm not saying it's always the right thing, eventually meant she was going to let go of one thing, the relationship that was actually really harmful to her. And now she's moving and stepping into this whole new life that she can feel is tangible at her fingers now that she otherwise couldn't see before.
Yep. Yep. I love that story. And I want to talk about something specific about that story. But before I do, I want to give one more example. Just our good buddy Chemo. So Chemo started Mobetta's. So go to Mobetta's for lunch today for Chemo.
Oh, love Mobetta's.
Yeah,
love Chemo too.
Chemo's my main man. I love the guy. I haven't talked to him in a little while. I need to reach out to him, but he was my friend over in Hawaii when I was going to school, and he was driving bus. He was my age. He was like 46 years old, and he's like, look, I'm gonna start a business. Like I'm gonna start this business. 46 years old. Think about it, Tyler. 46 years old. He's driving bus. He's grinding through, raising 4 kids. Just like life's expensive in Hawaii. And every time I'd go over to his house or talk to him, he was either reading a business book or he was listening to a podcast. And the podcasts were always about like entrepreneurship and creation and what you're going to do. And, you know, and I saw this like shift in him from thinking that I was just this guy that was going to grind through life to like, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a creator. So he's literally driving bus at the time. And we start going to lunch, and he's like talking about like, well, I think I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or this is how this goes. And I could feel from him his energy of like, it got me thinking like, I got to start my business. Like, whoa, what? This is crazy. Like, because he just knew, he believed it. And I remember going to his first store. He moved from Hawaii to Bountiful, and going to his first store, and I was eating his steak, and I was like, this is pretty good. And he came out, we were talking, and he's like, oh yeah, I got these plans for expansion, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm blah 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 blah. And I'm like, holy cow, like dang, there's a lot going on inside of him. Um, and now you come to Utah, you go to like almost any strip mall or whatever, and what's in there?
Just in Logan, Utah, there's two of them.
Mo Bettas, right?
Yeah.
Um, how did he shift? How did he do that? Um, he started to change the inputs in his life.
I think
Um,
part of this was the investment he made in himself.
that
Overall that time you're talking about, Brannon.
like he didn't listen to the just the true crime podcast all day. He was like invested in learning, growing, and surrounding himself around like energies. He was listening to these people who had created. And so he was being fed by their
He was
energy.
being baptized in the creation
Right. And
energy.
so I want to come back to your example, Tyler, of this woman who got rid of her bad relationship, or Vision getting rid of that bad relationship. I think a question that we don't ask ourselves enough, and you brought this up earlier when we were talking, is not what do I want to create? It's what inputs in my life are actually in the way of what I want to create. What things are dragging my energy down, and making it so that I'm not manifesting what I want. And that's a hard question to ask because it's hard to cut out certain things.
It's a hard question to ask, partly because we're not conscious, partly because we don't want to be conscious, and partly because when we finally start to understand what is dragging us down, there will be real sacrifice and actual pain to let it go.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether that's the third Mountain Dew that you're drinking that day, or that relationship with that old college buddy who's just a user and depressed and pulls from you and drags you down. Um,
Yeah. There's
that
real loss. Like you think about it, and it could be like, ask yourselves if you're listening to this right now and you're looking at some of those fruits, or you're having some things churn in you right now, you'll have something rise to the surface when I ask this question. But what is one of the things in your life right now that, if it was gone, would create more space for what you really want? It might be a belief, it might be a behavior, it might be a pattern, it might be a habit. It might be, I mean, you guys think about this, and this will sting for most people because we're all addicted, but what would this month look like if you got rid of your social media?
or if you cut out that 45 minutes of scrolling first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Um,
Or if you actually decided to let go of that friend that's always dragging you down because he talks you into going drinking with you on the weekends.
or you replaced lunch with a really healthy, high protein, high good fiber lunch, and not like pounded down the heavy, high sugar food for
And that
lunch.
sounds,
Like,
and that for me, Brandon, would sound horrible unless my energy had shifted into believing that I'm the person who takes care of myself.
well, because I'm creating something. So I
Right.
need energy in the afternoon. So I'm going to eat this good, healthy lunch because I'm going to create this thing.
I'm sacrificing for the sake of creation rather than, oh, I'm being punished because I have to give up X, Y, and
The
Z.
thing about it is, Tyler, it doesn't even feel like sacrifice. When you're resonating in that place, it's like, no, it's just automatic. This is what I do.
This is what I have to do. This is
It's not
necessity.
sacrifice. I just do. Um,
Yeah.
and I think at first it can be a little uncomfortable because you go through withdrawals with all the things we just went through. Um, but as you go through those withdrawals, you realize like I'm doing this because I'm creating something new in my life. So that last show that you watch late at night when you could get an extra hour of sleep. So it's not fun to get rid of things, to cut things out. But I think that's one of the first steps is to look at your life and say, okay, how can I engineer my life here to actually create this thing that I want? Rather than just focus on creating this thing that I want, but not change anything, the inputs in my life.
A good first step would be to just sit and do some inventory. What are what are the things in my life that no longer serve me or the life I want to create? And even I'd recommend somebody getting a list like some kind of a journal thing and put down what are the when we say things, put down beliefs, put down behaviors, put down relationships, put down habits. Um, and then let your mind just kind of churn on those for a minute and see. Like this happened to me, Brandon, when we were at the Signal Fire a couple weeks, just last week when Chase was introducing the whole event, he was talking about this being a night of introspection. And one of the things he suggested is that we ponder on what are the things that not only intentions for this coming year, but what are the things that we might be ready to let go of that we've been carrying for too long? And I was thinking he meant that in forms of resentments towards other people or my shame or something else, which could have all been that. But for some reason, my mind, as I sat there and pondered on the top of a mountain, freezing my butt off, it started to come to like, man, I need to give up some of my media patterns. They're they're sapping the life out of the life I want to create a little at a time, just enough that I don't really recognize it most of the time, but they do. And it's like, okay, now that I understand that, I know that I have a choice. I'm at an inflection point. It's like, do I want the life that's up ahead or the one I'm leaving behind?
Yep.
Because that choice, my life, this sounds so over dramatic. My life depends on that decision.
Well, and Tyler, I think you got to be careful a little bit with and take media or whatever it is. When you get rid of that because you know who you are and you know what you're creating, then you're shifting. You're shifting the energy. When you get rid of that because you're in a lot of shame and you tell yourself you're failing and so I better change this thing because, I'm just a piece of crap that needs to change this thing. You're actually not doing anything. You're just
Yeah,
you're
you're
gonna
actually fueling the same wrong energy.
yeah, you're gonna go right back to something else and maybe you'll white knuckle for a while and do you see the difference there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
You get clear with your intention, you know what you want to create, and naturally you get rid of the inputs that don't work for you and with that. And um, then you go create it. Uh, versus using shame to try to make things better.
Yeah.
Um, and that goes with everything, whether it's media or food or porn or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, so
Would it be all right,
um,
Brandon, if I just listed a few? We're getting close on time, but I've listed a few kind of tangible kind of practices that reinforce this idea of creation.
yeah, please.
Goes along with what you're saying right now because you can't. It's one thing to just stop something. It's another thing to know why. And so here's a couple of things. If you're interested in some of these practices, you'll notice there's kind of a theme across them. The first one is visualization. The brain is a really powerful tool that you can create something in your brain and your brain can act as if it's true, even if it's not there yet. So this is something that like Joe Dispenza talks about a lot, but I can wake up first thing in the morning and I can envision what it's like to be fully healthy in my body or to be fully successful at my work and if I can go there and feel the truth of that, I'm already reinforcing that it's possible and I'm starting my day from a new starting point, a new energy level. Second one is affirmations. Affirmations are the positive beliefs that we reinforce over and over again. You think about how we got our negative beliefs planted in us. They came through repetition and emotional and powerful emotional experiences. The same can be true with positive beliefs, repetition and powerful emotional experiences together. The third one is gratitude, the practice of gratitude. And that's what's so funny, Brandon, when you're talking about guys like chemo or some of the other people that we think about. It's like that almost comes part and parcel with most of the people that I know who seem to be practicing this kind of
Yeah.
this energy of creation is there's always gratitude. It's like even when you called me when COVID hit, Brandon, and I was like panicking, like, what's going to happen to my business? Like, no one can come in for therapy anymore. And you're like, dude, this is awesome. Like,
Oh man, no
there's
traffic.
there's so many opportunities now here. I'm like, what the heck? Like,
Yeah.
you're just seeing it so differently with gratitude. Then comes the aligned action. So the effort still matters, but now I'm putting in the effort because that's just what I do, because that's who I am, because that's the energy I'm living from, rather than like the compulsory part you're talking about. But you still have to have it.
Yeah.
And then the last one, and this is an interesting one. In all of that, this is almost like a paradox, but then letting go, meaning surrendering the things that are outside of my control today, trusting the process, and allowing yourself to be a work in progress rather than needing to be the finished product today.
Yep. Yep.
And those things can all kind of work together for our good towards this idea of creating.
Yep.
And, I think both of us could probably tell our own personal stories of like, I never thought I could have done blank. And then if I go and I backtrack how I got there, it's like, well, I was here, but then I ended up here, but then this guy, I met this guy, but then this happened, but then this happened. And it was all being in that space doing these things that led to the outcome that we really loved or appreciated.
Tyler, I have to admit something to you that you'll probably give me crap for going forward. Um, I got to confess something.
Oh no.
Oh.
I'm afraid. I'm always afraid of your confessions, Brannon. I never know what's quite going to come out of your mouth.
Over the week, I've become a Swiftie.
Oh,
Now before
okay.
you before you judge,
I'm gonna
before you
suspend my
judge,
judgment. I'm gonna
before you
suspend
judge,
judgment.
you need to go watch the documentary on Netflix or whatever.
I don't know if I
Um,
can get myself to do that.
it's inspiring. Um, lover or hater for different reasons. Um, but you watch it and you see a person manifesting like and that's all that is. Like if you have that in your mind and you watch that, it's incredible, and it's incredible what she creates, and that's why she has so many fans. She everything that you just listed, she does, and she knows exactly what she's doing, and she knows who she is. She knows her talent. She can like jam on the guitar, the piano, and she starts to put it together, and you can see this whole thing start to attract itself together and get created to the point where she's standing in the middle of a stadium with lights and I mean all the energy and all the creation just like boom right there. Um, and it's you got to give it to her, like incredible. My wife turned it on, but
Yeah, yeah.
but I sat and I watched, and as I was watching, I was like, whoa, like she believes and she knows and she's creating this thing. Um, so we'll use Taylor Swift as a good example too of
You never cease to amaze me, Brandon.
it. I'm a Swiftie, hey.
So, yeah. Yeah,
I knew
well,
you were trouble when you walked in.
I always, I think there's, I think there's a song. I only really know like the one lyric, but I sing it to my daughters all the time when they're mad at me, or like when my wife's like mad at me and I give me a little bit of a hard time. And it's like I think there's a lyric in there that's like, "You need to calm down."
I'm sure they love that. I'm
I
sure they
bust up.
absolutely.
I go Taylor Swift on them just as a weapon to get them to back off on
I'm
me
sure
once in a
they
while.
love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they do. They love
Yeah.
it. They love it.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, Brandon, good topic today. If you're sitting there right now thinking about these things and there's some things stirring in you, even if they're not fully comfortable, pause for a minute and ask yourself if there's any truth to this here. Ask yourself if you could put yourself into an experiment of some of these things that we've talked about and plant the seed and see where it goes.
You might not want to admit that you're powerful and that you can create because there's it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable to
There's
know how amazing you are and how powerful you are.
there's a level of responsibility to that as well.
But you are. But you and all of us are. And if you're playing small and not getting what you want out of your life, shift it. You got one life to live. So go create beautiful things that you want because you can.
Amen.
So
Thank you for being here with us. Hopefully, this is helpful to you. Until next time, keep on keeping on.